Belviq works by activating receptors in your brain that are believed to cause you to feel full. For some people, this means that they can eat less.
I've had enough.
Being overweight can carry health risks, like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, or type 2 diabetes. If you are overweight with any of these conditions or obese, Belviq may help you lose weight and keep it off. Do not take Belviq if you're pregnant, planning to be, or nursing. Before taking Belviq, tell your doctor if you take medicines for depression, migraines, mental problems, or a cold, as these medicines with Belviq may cause serious or life-threatening side effects. Call your doctor if you have confusion, sweating, fever, or stiff muscles. Some people taking medicines like Belviq have had heart valve problems. Call your doctor if you have trouble breathing, swelling, dizziness, fatigue, or a regular heartbeat. Don't drive or operate heavy machinery until you know how Belviq affects you. High doses may cause mental problems. Talk to your doctor if you become depressed or have thoughts of suicide. In patients with type 2 diabetes, weight loss may cause low blood sugar. Stop taking Belviq and tell your doctor if you have prolonged erections or your breasts begin to make milk or increase in size. Belviq may decrease blood cell count. Common side effects include headache, dizziness, fatigue, nausea, dry mouth, constipation, back pain, and cough. Belviq may help you lose weight and keep it off. Talk to your doctor about Belviq. To get your 15-day free trial offer, call 800-905-6868 or visit startbelviqnow.com today.
How do you breakfast?
I barely have time for coffee.
Chocolate donut?
Now there's a better way. The Hamilton Beach Breakfast Sandwich Maker. Choose your bread, add toppings, and an egg. In just 5 minutes, breakfast is ready.
That's easy.
That's quick.
That's delicious.
Now double your delicious with the Dual Breakfast Sandwich Maker. Go to HamiltonBeach.com for a limited time $5 rebate when you buy any breakfast sandwich maker in-store or online. Hamilton Beach. Good thinking.
As police investigated the shooting of the 5 employees outside of the airplane factory, they found evidence that the shooter had been on the factory roof and made his getaway down a ladder in the back. The shells found on the roof told investigators the weapon used was a shotgun. The shells were double-aught buckshot. Each shell contained 9 pellets about the same size as a .32 caliber bullet.
Like being shot 9 times at once, because each pellet enters the body and does a lot of damage. The pellet travels at about 1,000 feet a second coming out of the muzzle. So it's like being shot 9 times at once.
The shooting killed one man, Miguel Roque. Douglas Zamora and Ray Cruz were alive, but in critical condition. 2 others, Jorge Sanchez and George Musa, escaped without injury.
I was angry because these are the people that I worked with. They were my responsibility, and somebody had hurt them, and I was just, I don't know, it was my adrenaline, but I was really angry. I wanted to find the shooter.
Police began their investigation by asking about any recent firings or disgruntled current employees. One of the supervisors working on the night of the shooting reported seeing 2 or 3 men in a white Cadillac cruising the factory grounds. This was particularly troubling since one of the shooting victims, Ray Cruz, had a possible link to organized crime.
Ray Cruz had a family member who was currently in a witness protection program testifying against major drug traffickers who had assassinated some government witnesses.
Police wondered whether the factory shooting was a message to the Cruz family, warning Ray Cruz's brother not to testify at that trial. As police started to investigate that theory, a woman who lived directly behind the factory called to say she had found a gun in her yard.
Because of the police activity in the area, she didn't come outside. She was fearful that there was something going on, that she should stay inside. The next morning when she came outside to feed her cats, she noticed a shotgun and she called police.
There were no fingerprints on the gun, and the serial number had been filed off, making it virtually impossible to trace.
That's what we call a robbery gun, where it's easily concealable by removing part of the barrel and removing the stock from the weapon, and it's easier to hide on a person.
To see if this was the gun used in the factory shooting, Thomas Quirk conducted a ballistic analysis. Most guns have lands and grooves inside the gun barrel, which leave distinctive marks on the bullets. but the barrel of a shotgun is smooth.
Without having a rifled bore, there are no marks left behind on the pellets. We can't identify the pellets. We can only identify the shot shells themselves.
When a shotgun is fired, the expanding gases force the shell casings back against what is called the breech face of the gun.
That shotgun will leave marks on the primer of the shot shells over and over and over. These marks will be the same. So that's what we call the fingerprint of the weapon.
A microscopic comparison showed that the ballistic fingerprint of the sawed-off shotgun matched the markings on the shells found on the factory roof. Although this was the murder weapon, it wasn't the type used by organized crime.
It's been more up close and personal with handguns, so that they are sure that they hit their target, their intended target. A shotgun is a good close-up weapon, but from a long distance, because of the way the projectiles scatter, you may not necessarily hit your target. It didn't appear to be the type of scenario where you have a person on the roof with a shotgun. Just didn't seem to fit.
The gun and shells were the only physical evidence investigators had. But the gun still had a story to tell for those who knew how to read it.
If you've been wondering which of the hundreds of different flat irons is the absolute best for straightening your hair, according to a new study by a leading independent lab, the answer is none of them. The best way to straighten your hair isn't with a flat iron, it's with a rotating iron, the new InStyler Max Rotating Iron. Here's why. The Max Ceramic Rotating Barrel provides 380% more straightening surface than the market-leading flat iron. In fact, in an independent study versus a $250 ceramic flat iron, Max was proven superior for straightening, for creating brilliant shine, for fighting frizz, and for transforming even the toughest hair into the smoothest, silkiest, perfect texture. And according to a recent consumer study, 9 out of 10 women overwhelmingly chose Max over the #1 selling salon quality flat iron. And it gets even better. For the first time, the new InStyler Max allows you to control the direction of the rotation, so it's always providing the maximum results. And if your hair loves the heat, the new Max has multiple settings up to 425 degrees. So if you want the #1 tool for straightening, for fighting frizz, for creating the ultimate shine, and you want the control to transform your hair into any style you like, you don't want any of these. You need the one, the only, Max Rotating Iron. So now you can replace hundreds of dollars worth of tools with the one tool that does it all. Better. You can find the InStyler Max at any of these fine stores or be one of the first 500 people to call in the next 30 minutes and try it for 30 days for only $14.99. And when you keep your Max at the regular low price, you'll get a second Max absolutely free. So what are you possibly waiting for? This offer will never ever be available in stores. Ask for priority processing to get your Max or go to InStyler.com.
Call 1-800-824-0438 or go to InStyler.com right now.
Ballistic tests had identified the gun used to kill Miguel Roque and wound Doug Zamora and Ray Cruz. The question now was who owned the gun. The serial number had been removed.
Every mark, the serial number, the brand, the model, the gauge, everything was ground off the weapon, so we had no idea who the manufacturer was or any of the information, the model or serial number.
Take it to a gun store.
The first step was to determine the make and model of the gun. The gun vault at the Miami-Dade Police Crime Lab holds over 2,000 firearms of various makes and calibers. Experienced firearms examiners thought it was probably a Remington Model 870 shotgun, so they compared it to the Remington 870 in their vault.
And sure enough, it turned out to be a 12-gauge Remington pump shotgun. They're fairly popular here. As a matter of fact, our police officers carry them.
The Model 870 is popular everywhere. It's one of the best-selling shotguns ever made. Millions have been sold. The killer knew that tracing such a gun without a serial number would be all but impossible.
But he didn't know what a crime laboratory can do.
By law, all firearms sold in the United States must have a serial number stamped into the metal. The number is recorded at the time of sale, allowing any gun to be traced back to the original owner.
When they stamp a serial number into the weapon, it compresses the metal of the weapon, and it makes the metal underneath the serial numbers harder than the metal around it. And that's key for the serial number restoration.
Quirk smoothed the area of the serial number with a sander to create an even surface. He then applied a strong acid to the steel. The smooth surface ensures that the acid eats the steel evenly, but the area where the metal is compressed, the area directly beneath the serial number that was removed, is denser and resists the acid.
And the next thing you'll see will be white ghost numbers of a serial number raising up through that metal.
With the recovered serial number, Detective McColeman contacted the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. They said the manufacturer had sold the gun to a local sporting goods store.
Subsequently went to that store. We obtained the ATF form that the purchaser filled out.
The name on the form was Geraldo Manso. Manso was a night shift supervisor at the airplane factory and was one of the first employees on the scene on the night of the shooting.
We also brought the form to our question and document section in our forensic lab. The signature on both his work records and the form matched.
Investigators discovered that Manso had been angry because others at work had been promoted ahead of him. One of those promoted was Doug Zamora, a victim in the shooting.
I was the foreman of that department, and he thought that he deserved that position. Unfortunately, he didn't get it. I believe it's because of his lack of not being able to communicate with vendors due to the fact that he didn't speak any English. That's probably why I got the position, not because I knew more than him.
But everyone believed Manso got over the disappointment since he didn't appear to harbor any lingering resentment.
As soon as all this happened, the one person I turned to was Manso, and said, "Manso, you have to help me now here while everything that's going on. These gentlemen are in the hospital. You have to take over." So during that week, he was the person who was making sure the machines were running.
Geraldo Manso denied he was involved in the shooting. It was Manso's closest friend, Miguel Roque, who was killed in the shooting. And Manso had an alibi, since he was seen in the factory immediately following the shooting. But a background check revealed that Manso had been a suspect in another shooting death. The victim allegedly was having an affair with Manso's wife. Police now wondered whether this was a coincidence or a pattern of revenge and murder.
A vicious gang of home invaders.
50 home invasion robberies.
They pose as police.
Gain quick entry into a home and then take control of the occupants.
And use brute force to take what they want.
They involve shootings, sexual assaults.
They're fierce and elusive.
80-year-old women hit with the butts of shotguns.
And they must be stopped.
That look and that girl's eyes will stay with me for the rest of my life.
On the FBI Files, tonight, 11/10 Central, on the new Escape, Slip Away. On the next Snapped, she was a loner who loved escapist fantasy.
Role-playing, vampires, goths.
Her new boyfriend had an even looser grip on reality.
We believe that dragons walk the earth.
It all seemed harmless until her father ended up dead. A full night of Snapped starts Tuesday night, 8/7 Central, on the new Escape, Slip Away.
Attention Medicare beneficiaries. Health reform has added significant new benefits to Medicare plans. If you have Medicare Part A, Part B, Part D, or any Medicare Advantage plan, you now get benefits with no copays, no deductibles, and can get dental, vision, and prescription coverage included. Call the Medicare Health Reform Helpline now to make sure you have all the benefits you're entitled to. Call the Medicare Health Reform Helpline now to update your plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jason Buchwald. The cost of health insurance and the denial of coverage because of pre-existing conditions has been a serious problem in America. But now the law has changed. Healthcare reform is now available. So many people do not take advantage of the benefits offered to them by healthcare reform because they don't call. Call now.
The Medicare Health Reform Helpline is now accepting calls. Don't miss the deadline. Call the Medicare Health Reform Helpline.
Call 800-920-2159. That's 800-920-2159. 800-920-2159.
When you have a job or family, going back to school for a bachelor's or master's degree can seem impossible. What if you could earn your degree on your schedule for less money and in less time? Now you can with WGU, an accredited nonprofit online university that's taking a new approach to education.
Competency-based education made perfect sense to me because I didn't have to repeat the information I already knew.
A flat rate tuition, no matter how many courses you take, makes WGU truly affordable, usually half the cost of other online universities.
I ended up graduating debt-free.
See why 99% of employers say WGU grads meet or exceed expectations.
My undergraduate degree came paired with a job offer.
Call 800-517-2579 now and find out how you can earn an accredited high-quality degree in less time for less money from WGU. For a limited time, you can apply for free. Call 800-517-2579 now.
Police now suspected Geraldo Manso in the shooting death of Miguel Roque and injuring Doug Zamora and Ray Cruz. The murder weapon was a sawed-off shotgun found in the yard of a woman who lived next to the factory. After raising the serial number, police discovered it was purchased by Geraldo Manso. And Manso had an interesting background.
We ran Gerardo Manso through that system, and it hit on a previous homicide. A homicide of Mr. Gutierrez, which occurred, I believe, in 1991.
The victim, Luis Gutierrez, had been gunned down while in his car on a deserted stretch of road. Manso was questioned because Gutierrez was allegedly having an affair with Manso's wife. Despite a strong motive, no physical evidence linked Manso to the murder, although Gutierrez had been killed with a shotgun. Police asked Manso to come down to police headquarters for questioning. Manso agreed. After questioning him briefly, detectives asked him to take a polygraph or lie detector test. Manso consented. Manso was asked if he knew who was responsible for the shooting, and if he was the man who killed Miguel Roque.
His answer, of course, was no, he didn't know, and no, he didn't kill anybody. There was clear deception indicated on the polygraph to those responses.
Confronted with the polygraph results, Manso broke down and confessed. But he said he missed his intended targets and instead killed his best friend, Miguel Roque.
And he told the detectives in his confession that he was very upset that Mr. Roque died because he was not the intended target. In fact, he was the only friend that Manso had in the business. And he indicated his targets were George Sanchez and George Musso.
I think that he regretted that he didn't kill the right people. Other than that, that's the only remorse that he expressed.
Detectives also questioned Manso about the shooting death of Luis Gutierrez.
He goes, oh yeah, 2 years ago I killed my wife's lover, too, with the same gun.
He fired from inside his vehicle, therefore the casing would remain inside his vehicle. So the only thing on that scene were projectiles from the shotgun, which cannot be traced.
Manso was charged with 2 murders, Luis Gutierrez and his co-worker Miguel Roque. He was also charged with the attempted murder of the other 4 men in the parking lot. Prosecutors believe that what motivated the shooting was resentment at being passed over for advancement.
Because Manso did not speak English, he wasn't invited to go to the training session. He saw this as a threat to his ability to go forward in his occupation, and so he resented the people that were going.
He especially resented his supervisors, George Musa and Jorge Sanchez, for holding him back. So after hours, he used the machinery at work to cut down the barrel of his shotgun and to grind off the serial number. On the night of the shooting, he snuck up to the roof with the easily concealed weapon and ambushed the men he thought were in his way. Although Manso says that Sanchez and Musa were his intended targets, prosecutors don't believe it, since he used a shotgun instead of a rifle. After the shooting, he threw the gun off the roof into one of the yards near the factory, then hurried down to the factory floor to create his alibi.
There's a ladder that led to the top of the building. He must have scurried down. In the confusion, he was able to run out and appear to be concerned. Now, this would only take a couple of seconds.
When George Musa saw Manso immediately after the shooting, he had no idea that Manso was the gunman.
Yes, I had my gun drawn, and Manso was right there. Had I known it was him, the shooter, I would have shot him. There's no doubt in my mind.
I believe that Mr. Manso is a dangerous man, and he deals with his frustrations through violence.
Because it seemed to be the only way he can resolve things, is to eliminate obstacles.
Geraldo Manso was found guilty of murder and attempted murder and was sentenced to consecutive life terms in prison. Kenya Roque shares keepsakes and memories of Miguel with her daughter Laura. Laura was just 18 months old when her father died. The father who worked long hours to give her a better life in America, but never got to share it with her.
Sometimes I feel that it's a bad dream that I had. It's not real. I'm not here. It was another life. But the only choice that I have is keep busy. Keep tired, keep busy, study, working, doing many things. Don't let my mind any space to think about that.
Doug Zamora and Ray Cruz survived their injuries. Doug's arm was almost amputated, but doctors were able to save it. The shooting changed the victims. Doug Zamora quit his job at the factory and went into law enforcement. He now works as a corrections officer. George Musa, impressed by the EMTs who responded to the shooting, also quit his job and is training to become a medic. Manso believed that by scratching the serial number from his weapon, he would remove all traces of ownership. But forensic technology proved him wrong.
The more forensics that you've got, of course, the better it's going to be. Forensics really don't lie. They don't make the kind of mistakes that witnesses make. So it's really pretty exciting.
We linked the casings to the gun to the man.